You know that Jake Tapper has been on his tour to sell his book Original Sin that talks about Biden's mental decline after spending all 2024 claiming that no, Biden was perfectly fine. Why do you ask? All that is a conspiracy theory. And now, I don't know why he decided to go on Megyn and Kelly's show where Megyn essentially in, let's say, around 59 seconds destroyed his reputation, his credibility, and his career. But to be fair, he did that to himself. It's something that he did to himself, and we are going to analyze that. I'm going to analyze his reactions because he at some point, he tries to deflect Megyn's attack, and let's say it doesn't go very well for him. But well, here is the first clip.
Here in my ecosphere, we were covering all of these. It wasn't just falling down. It was getting lost. It was some of the stuff you report in your book. We knew and we were reporting on, like the multi-jump cuts in the videos of him, where it was obvious he couldn't get through a 1-minute take.
You know that he is listening to Megyn, and two things. The first thing that I noticed is that, okay, that's that confused expression. He is tilting his head a bit, so he's actually listening to her. He's actually paying attention. He looks quite, I would say, relaxed. He doesn't seem confrontational. He is actually listening to her. He doesn't look tense at all. You know that tense, you would see some, we can't see his shoulders, but by his neck and by the head tilt, I could say that he was rather relaxed and was actually listening to her. And at some point, he was even nodding that they were reporting, not they. It's like, okay, you were reporting about this, about what he claims in his book, and why, by the way, why didn't he say all that in 2024 before, you know, all the the debate and all that happened? But let's watch the second clip to keep spotting signals.
It was clear to us that he was using teleprompter, and there was some reporting on that at the time, all of which the White House was denying. Now, the current White House, I have some connections. With the Joe Biden White House, I had none, but you did.
One observation that I want to make about that, about the Joe Biden using the teleprompter. At some point, I could give someone a pass because maybe you have a speech written for you. You can use teleprompter. You can read the speech off of the teleprompter. But I got a video. Maybe you have seen my video about who is the real Biden, like two Bidens. I'm going to recommend that. I'm going to put the link at the end of this one in the suggested videos. It was one of my very most popular analysis in which you had two Bidens, in which both the two Bidens were reading from a teleprompter, which I think is okay. What I had a problem with was the multi-jump cuts, in which you saw that he spoke like one sentence and you get a cut or a jump to another sentence and then another sentence. It's like he lost even reading the teleprompter, he was lost. That's what I had a real issue with. But again, this is when it gets really cool.
There was an attempted cover-up. It could only ever work if you allowed it, if the press allowed it. Some of us tried not to, and some of us were complicit.
The Biden White House did not like me. Okay, I do not have great connections with the Biden White House.
Well, clearly, you have a lot of sources. You say you talked to over 200 sources for this book.
Yeah, that was exactly as he was speaking, I had that same question in my mind. How can you write a book about Joe Biden, about the actual mental cognitive decline of Joe Biden, if you don't have sources inside the White House or the sources that were working under Joe Biden's White House at the time? That doesn't make sense. So how do you do that? And well, he displayed a classic shit-eating grin. You can see it for yourself. Like he is very dismissive. He is. I think he had taken something to be relaxed through this. Make sure to not be confrontational. If he got confrontational, he knew Megyn was going to destroy him. So he had to appear, as we saw in And in the first clip, oh, he was a bit confused. Like, why? Why are you saying that? And well, after Megyn was starting to really roast him, we saw things like that lip pressing and also the tongue show. He showed that tongue many times. I think at least 3 times over 2 minutes, which is a lot. I mean, it's okay if you wet your lips every now and then, but when you let's say do that gesture with or too frequently, it means that your lips are getting dry too fast, which in turn is a sign of nervousness. You are wetting your lips very frequently for a reason. What else do we have here? He tried to speak at some point, but Megyn made sure to keep her rate of speech and make sure to get her point across before he had any chance to intervene.
You allowed it. If the press allowed it. Some of us tried not to, and some of us were complicit.
The Biden White House did not like me. Okay, I do not have great connections with the Biden White House.
And he did. It's very hard. I'm gonna see if I can. All right. I'm gonna do this so you can see the jacket flick. It's important. Here it goes. You're gonna watch right here and how just from the movement from the jacket, he lifts his jacket and then covers himself with it. We can't see his hand. We can't see the lower part of his jacket, but just from this, we can completely, 100%, notice that he is flicking his jacket, trying to cover himself with the jacket, which is a protective and defensive gesture. Very easy to spot, in spite that is completely outside the frame. There are a couple more clips that we can take a look at.
So you have some election. You could have called and worked.
No, that's the point, is that they were not being honest. That's
well, how did the Wall Street Journal get it in June of 2024? And Jake Tapper and CNN couldn't find sources for this story then before he dropped out?
You notice that the tranquility, the serenity, the calm and collected attitude from the start. He's still trying to speak in the same voice tone, but you see that his body language is rattled after, well, Megyn is essentially is destroying him. He had this eyebrow. They're not eyebrow flashes. They're lifting he's lifting his eyebrows to be able to connect with her in some way, but that is not happening. That's not going to happen anytime soon. She is skewering him, is turning him into a skewer, and he does that head turning away and has a bit of a condescending smile. I could say that the way that the shape of his mouth has some kind of bias to the left side. That is part of his body language baseline. So we can't say that this is a contempt smile, because you can see, I can jump to any other point of this video, and you see that there's a slight bias to the left side. So we can say that this is contempt, a half smile to one side, because his mouth is pretty much configured that way. But when you see this sleaze look, the head turning away, and the way that he's just raising one also softly his lip, okay, yeah, that is a very condescending attitude, as in, no, you got it wrong, and still he's got that attitude that he did not have, again, at the start of the video. I'm going to play, not going to play, just going to show you his facial expression at the start. Remember that, and his facial expression right now. That is, it was ready to be confrontational. What did he do afterwards? He swallowed hard, a bit hard to spot. I made sure to zoom in. There it goes. It goes up and down, up and down. It's hard to spot, up and down. I'm going to play it so you see in real time. It's always handy to watch it in real time.
We'll get it in June of 2024. And Jake Tapper and CNN.
And then That was kind of an eyebrow flash.
June of 2024. And Jake Tapper and CNN couldn't find sources for this story then before he.
And he did two more emotional reactions. The first one was leaning backwards. Here he goes. He leaned back. Okay, that is a defensive gesture, of a split-second defensive gesture. And he wet his lips once again. Right, press his lips, wet his lips once again. So yeah, the guy was really nervous with all these questions from Megyn. But another clip.
Annie Linsky and Siobhan Hughes did an amazing job in their reporting, and they should be heralded. And I heralded them. I had them on my show right after the debate.
Okay, that head shake was more of an emphasis, saying that they had made an amazing work. I'm going to just give him a pass with that one.
And they should be heralded, and I heralded them. I had them on my show right after the debate to talk about their great reporting. But Annie
After
Linsky,
the debate. But you did not put them on when they published that story, which was before the debate.
correct.
Yeah, they had a story before the debate, then which, Biden was not good. You remember that the debate was the inflecting point in which George Clooney was so, go Biden, go. And right after the debate, they all seem to realize, no, Biden has to go. For some reason. How convenient, right?
I don't know what the booking situation was, but it wasn't because I didn't want them. I'm sure I said that day, let's book. I'm sure I said that day, let's book that. Did they?
Yeah, you put on a Democrat, and you allowed the Democrat to rip on the report as a Rupert Murdoch sponsored hit piece.
No.
It's just
Megyn.
Again, he was doing the confused look. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about, Megyn? I just don't get it. I am so confused by the way that I see words come out of your mouth and I don't understand that why are you attacking me? And that's when he goes for the most pathetic defense or excuse, whatever you want to call it.
That's
Megyn,
what happened.
if we're going to do this, let's just stick to the facts here, okay?
Let's just stick to the facts. That is a way of dismissing whatever Megyn has said up to this point as those are not facts. Okay, if we're going to talk about this, I want to talk about this, but let's just stick to the facts. All right? And all that Megyn Kelly has said up to this point are facts. And this is a way that manipulative people try to dismiss reality. Let's stick to the facts. You are making things up. He can't say that she's making things up, because that's when she would actually destroy him. But he can gaslight in a way and say, no, let's just stick to the facts. Okay, that is what he's implying, that she is not going with the facts.
That's
Megyn,
what happened.
if we're going to do this,
you notice that he did another swallow. I'm going to zoom in. Just you spot it.
That's
Megyn,
what happened.
And another wetting of the lips.
If we're going to do this, let's just stick to the facts here, okay? When there is a damaging
Jake,
report.
That's what I've been doing all along.
I'm talking about what you just said.
Didn't miss the biggest story of the century when it comes to presidential politics, and one of us did.
Yeah, this was embarrassing. This was really embarrassing, but I have to give Jake Tapper props for going on Megyn Kelly's show for his book, and we'll try to let's say confront her about this. And this is what happened. This is how you see this was effectively this was, if you take up the fluff, there's not much fluff in here. This were effectively 59 seconds of pure destruction in which, he was exposed as a fraud. We all knew he was a fraud from the beginning, but I wanted to show and analyze this clip. It was so interesting to see how he was, confused and relaxed at the beginning, and how in a matter of seconds, his body language completely changed. And that's when you see that you have nailed what people fear the most, being exposed for their lies. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Remember to download my free 100 body language tips right in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss.